Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Jake here. Hope everybody's having a great day out there today. It is time for Oscar nomination predictions. This is far and away every year the most chaotic video that I have to make because I have to make sense of all of my thoughts in so many categories. And so I'm going to do my best. I have my awards predictions I will show on screen for each category. And then I also have my fantastic spreadsheet that I spent so much time building out. This is something I'm really proud of. I went back into every year in the 21st century and detailed nominations and wins for every single category and every single precursor. Did some stats as well. And so I'll be using this as well just to get a snapshot look at what this award season has looked like, how it's gone, who's been winning, who's been nominated, and hopefully it'll help us give a clear picture as to who is going to get nominated at this year's Academy Awards. So let's dive into it. So the obvious place to start with Oscar nomination predictions is Best Picture. So let's do that. We've got 6 movies here that are locks on locks on locks. We have One Battle, Sinners, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, Frankenstein. Those are getting in, and you can take it to the bank. Those aren't missing for any reason. Bugonia has kind of been getting in everywhere. It's a little crazy. I mean, if you take a look at the spreadsheet, Bugonia, it has PGA, Critics' Choice, and Golden Globe. That's pretty much everything. I mean, it missed SAG Ensemble, but I mean, it's really only 2 actors for most of the movies. That makes sense. But it's been getting in everywhere, and so I have no doubt that that movie is going to get nominated as well. You have The Secret Agent, which has done extremely well, winning multiple international feature awards at precursors. Wagner Moura is attached to it. And so I feel very confident that this is getting in. This is your front runner for the International Feature Oscar. And so I have no doubt this is going to get in. Train Dreams has done pretty well. I mean, it's missed a couple of things here and there. If we take a look at our handy dandy spreadsheet, like it has PGA, that is a big get. Getting PGA was a huge thing that Train Dreams needed, and it has Critics' Choice, which is nice. SAG Ensemble didn't really need to get in, and then Golden Globe. So not like the strongest showing ever, but it is proved to be an awards movie. And if you're looking at what could come in its place, I really don't think you can even consider that. So I think Train Dreams is absolutely getting in. It's this 10th slot that I'm really worried about, man. I've I've been holding on to It Was Just an Accident all award season long. I think everybody has. And after Jafar Panahi walked away with 0 Golden Globe wins, that is when the alarm bells started ringing. And that's when we need to have this serious discussion. And so my line of thinking right now is, first off, Neon has had some great campaigns, obviously with The Secret Agent, with It Was Just an Accident. So Rot had a good showing on the Oscar shortlist. You have Sentimental Value, of course, and so Neon's been doing some great campaigning. Jafar Panahi's been making the rounds. He's been showing face. Um, and when you look at your alternates, that is where I am just like, I don't know if I feel confidently enough in a movie to put it above It Was Just an Accident. I mean, you have Weapons and F1 both got PGA nominations, but that is all that they are walking into Oscar nomination morning with. And so, I mean, Weapons is a screenplay contender, obviously supporting actress contender with Amy Madigan. F1 has some techs on its side, and I don't feel confidently enough to put either one of those movies above It Was Just an Accident, if that makes sense. And so I'm gonna stick with It Was Just an Accident. I wouldn't be shocked if we found ourselves surprised by a couple of key It Was Just an Accident snubs. Um, but yeah, I think it's still gonna get in Best Picture. I mean, it's the best thinking that I've got. I need to update these. Wow, holy smokes. I don't think Avatar or Jay Kelly stands a chance. I think Blue Moon could squeak in. That could be interesting. Um, so let's just do this bad boy. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Um, yeah. So I think Blue Moon has a shot. Richard Linklater obviously been nominated a handful of times. Boyhood being a big Oscar player. Wicked for Good. It's diminishing returns in a sequel, it's missed too much, and then No Other Choice has also just been super weak the entire award season. So this is what I think your best picture 10 are going to be. These films right here. I think it'd be pretty shocking if something like It Was Just an Accident missed. But again, I don't know what the alternate would be. Alrighty, for Best Director, we've got a pretty interesting race and a pretty loaded race at that. You have Paul Thomas Anderson, one battle after another. Obviously going to win. Ryan Coogler in Sinners. People have thought he was maybe lower on the spectrum, that we could see a snub, but I think at this point everybody realizes how massive of an Oscar player Sinners is, and so I don't think Ryan Coogler is getting snubbed. I think there's zero chance. He's gotten everything. Josh Safdie, a bit of a late appearance, but if we take a look here, Josh Safdie, he's got DGA and he's got Critics' Choice, and that might be all you need to get in. He's done significantly well this season. Marty Supreme is an absolute smash hit at the box office, with audiences, with critics. Everybody loves this movie, and so I think Josh Safdie is going to get in. I think this movie is going to play pretty well at the Oscars. If we take a look at the rest of our predictions here, Chloe Zhao in Hamnet, she just got to go up and make a speech at the Golden Globes on behalf of the movie, so I think she's getting in. And then Sentimental Value, Joachim Trier. I mean, again, we can look at the spreadsheet. Joachim Trier on the weaker side, walking in with Critics' Choice and Golden Globe, but also the guilds don't love the foreign films, and so it's a little troubling. The main alt that I'm seeing here would be Guillermo del Toro, but the big thing that caused a big stir with Guillermo del Toro is that he missed the BAFTA long list, which is massive. That is a massive snub, considering you had some good directors you could have fit into their 5 male directors in their long list, but instead they opt for Yorgos Lanthimos, which is a fascinating pick. And I think that shows that Guillermo del Toro isn't just going to walk into that. I think just with the type of genre this movie is, this movie needed to have Guillermo del Toro get in everywhere. And he missed the BAFTA long list. Didn't get nominated to the BAFTA, didn't even make the long list. And so I think that's worrying. I think he could get in for sure. I think Joachim Trier would probably be the weakest. But the directors also have a knack for doing some surprises. So I think if you're looking at surprises, I think your two options are Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident, or Cleaver Mendoza Filho for The Secret Agent. I don't know what else it would be. I think these are your options. I'm kind of sticking with your top 5: One Battle, Sinners, Marty Supreme, Hamnet, Sentimental Value. But just watch out for Oscar nomination morning, because the directors like to do interesting things. For lead actress, this feels kind of set in stone. This feels like we're in a good spot. Jessie Buckley gonna win, gonna sweep. Rose Byrne doing really well. Renata Reinsva, she did miss SAG. I'd actually probably put Emma Stone above Renata Reinsva, just because Emma Stone has gotten it everywhere. Renata Reinsva did miss SAG, but I think she's strong. I think Sentimental Value is going to have no problem on Thursday morning. And then Chase Infinity is my number 5. She has not missed yet. She made it on the BAFTA long list, and she's in the Best Picture winner. She is such a young standout and a instant kind of movie star, I think a lot of people are thinking. And so I'm going with Chase Infinity in that 5 slot, and it's all on account of her having not missed anything so far. I think your alt is Kate Hudson. She's an older actress. People love her. She's doing this big Oscar bait role in Song Sung Blue. And so there's a possibility that happens, but I can't shake the fact that A, Chase Infinity is not missed yet, and B, Chase Infinity is in the Best Picture winner. I think those are the things you have to look at. If we take a look at the spreadsheet, you'll see Chase Infinity, Emma Stone getting everywhere. Kate Hudson missed Critics' Choice, which isn't like a huge deal, but it happened. Renata Reinsva missed SAG. Amanda Seyfried, I mean, Testament of Anne Lee is dead. That's not happening. No nominations on Thursday morning, I'm guessing. And then beyond that, you just have a bunch of names that simply do not matter in Jennifer Lawrence, Cynthia Erivo, but I wouldn't even go that far in my list. So I think this is your 5. It's really whether you think Chase Infinity for One Battle is going to get in, or if you think it's going to be Kate Hudson, Song Sung Blue. I think that's the decision you have to make, and I'm going with Chase Infinity. For Best Actor, this feels pretty easy. I think everybody will tell you Timothée Chalamet, Leonardo DiCaprio, those are locks. They're getting in. Wagner Moura is maybe not as strong as we might have thought, considering that he missed SAG, which SAG doesn't like foreign films very much, but he also missed the BAFTA long list, which is a big deal. So I'd probably just do this. I'd honestly maybe even do this. I don't know. I think Ethan Hawke has not missed. He has not missed. He's beloved. He's an Oscar favorite. I think he's just going to get in. I think Michael B. Jordan, this is his time. I think there's a possibility that he could maybe miss, given it's kind of a genre movie. But I think Sinners is so strong that I don't think you could even consider taking him out. So I think this 5 is kind of locked up. If there was an alt, I think Jesse Plemons could surprise. Again, Begonia has done better than expected this entire award season. But again, I don't know who I'd take out here. Joel Edgerton in Train Dreams, he's picked up a couple of little spots here and there, but I'm not too nervous. Again, we look at the spreadsheet here. Wagner Moura missed SAG, missed the BAFTA long list. Jesse Plemons missed Critics' Choice, but again, not a big deal. And then Joel Edgerton missed SAG, but made the BAFTA long list. So, it is what it is. I just think this top 5 right here, Timothy, Leo, Ethan Hawke, Michael B. Jordan, Wagner Moura, tough to beat those 5. All right, for Best Supporting Actress, I think Tiana Taylor is your front runner. Amy Madigan right behind her. Those are the 2 that have won official precursors, so I think those are locks. Wunmi Mosaku has been a bit of a shock this award season, but if we take a look at the spreadsheet, you will see she's only missed Golden Globe. And so, yeah, I got no reason to doubt that she's going to get in. I think Inga Ibsdottir Lilius is not going to have a problem. I think they'll do fine with Sentimental Value. And then I have Odessa Zion in the 5th slot. She just got that surprise SAG nomination. She made it on the BAFTA long list. And she made it on the BAFTA long list over Elle Fanning. And so I think Odessa Zion is going to get in. Again, I think Marty Supreme is just a hit. And I think that they're going to nominate Odessa Zion. Your alternates, Elle Fanning, of course, Sentimental Value, is very beloved by all the different awards bodies. But her missing SAG and her missing the BAFTA long list, kind of a big deal. And with her being like the second supporting role in that movie, or really the third supporting role in that movie behind Stellan Skarsgård and Inga Ibsdottir Lilius, I think she's just gonna get left behind, and I hate to see it, but it is what it is. Ariana Grande, it's just, who do you take out for that? Ariana Grande, she's done fine, she's got everything so far, she's on the BAFTA long list, but I can't deny any of these. And then Gwyneth Paltrow is the last one. I mean, she just got, I believe, the BAFTA long list. She made it on that. But she hasn't picked up any nominations at all yet. And so I can't predict her in anywhere. So this is your 5. I think this is pretty clear cut. I'd love to see Elle Fanning in there, but I don't want to take anybody out. So, this is going to be my 5 for supporting actress. Okay, sorry if my camera got off. My light died, so I had to plug it in so I could keep using it. We're going to go to supporting actor now. Stellan Skarsgård, Jacob Elordi. Those are guys that have won awards, so I think they're going to get in. Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, One Battle After Another's Too Strong. And Paul Mescal and Hamnet just won the Golden Globe drama. And so I don't know what else. This feels really easy to me. I think Delroy Lindo could get in just because I don't know. you know, I'm running out of things to say here. We can take a look at the spreadsheet, but this is really clear cut and dry. Like you have four dudes that have gotten in everywhere, and then the one guy that missed, SAG, Stellan Skarsgård, is he was in Sentimental Value, which is a foreign film which SAG doesn't like, but he just won the Golden Globe and just got to make a speech. So I think it's that top five, no problem, easy peasy. All right, original screenplay. This is a bit of an interesting one. I think you got some obvious favorites here. Sinners, Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme. Think those are going to have no problem. It was just an accident. I think Jafar Panahi is going to show up somewhere. It's going to be here. And again, looking at the alts, it's just like, what else do you do? I think The Secret Agent is a possibility. It would be really weird if The Secret Agent got in to like Best Picture and was the front runner for international feature over It Was Just an Accident, but then It Was Just an Accident made it into screenplay above The Secret Agent. That doesn't compute with me. But it might happen. Who knows? But I have both of them predicted, which would be dope. Like it'd be awesome to see two international feature films be nominated in screenplay. That's really sick. Looking at your alts, all of these kind of have a shot at getting in over The Secret Agent, or It Was Just an Accident. I think you have Weapons, which I feel like is kind of closer to Best Picture than people realize. I think Sorry Baby is this great, writing directorial debut. You have Blue Moon, which is Richard Linklater. Ethan Hawke, is a staple in the actor category. I think any of those could happen at the Oscars. If we take a look at the spreadsheet for original screenplay, Writers Guild has not happened yet, so we don't have that to go off of. The only thing we really have to go off of is Critics' Choice, Golden Globe. Golden Globe only having one screenplay category, and then the BAFTA long list. And so, Sinners won Critics' Choice. One battle, one screenplay at Golden Globe. We'll talk about that with Adapted. But we had It Was Just an Accident, Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, and Sinners all get in at the Golden Globe. And then if you look at Critics' Choice, the alts were, instead of It Was Just an Accident, they had J. Kelly, Weapons, and Sorry Baby. I think J. Kelly's dead. But this is the thing that's interesting to me, this Weapons getting on the BAFTA long list for screenplay. I think that's really interesting. That's something I'm honestly taking a look at because I think that could happen. So anyways, that's just something to look at. I'm still probably going to predict The Secret Agent just because on account of The Secret Agent being closer to Best Picture than Weapons is. So I'm going to keep that in. But just something to think about. Blue Moon made it on the Golden Globe comedy musical lineup for Best Picture. Sorry Baby has kind of become a little indie favorite, indie darling. So I mean, those have a shot at getting in. So we'll see if it ends up happening. Adapted screenplay. I think this is another easy five you got on your hands. One battle, obviously winning. Hamnet, really strong. Bugonia, really strong. Frankenstein and Train Dreams, all Best Picture movies. I got nothing else to say. I mean, your alts are No Other Choice, Wake Up Dead Man, maybe. I mean, what else is on here? Wicked. Yeah, heck no. This is it. This is your five. It's happening. Take it to the bank. I'd love to see No Other Choice get in. I just watched that maybe a week or two ago. Loved that movie. I think it'd be awesome to get that in adapted screenplay, but Train Dreams being more than likely in Best Picture. These two guys getting nominated last year for Sing Sing. I think, come on. I think it's going to get in. I mean, I don't think we even need to look at the spreadsheet, but we can. I mean, one battle is swept. Hamnet's gotten in both places. And like I said, Golden Globe only has one screenplay category, so a lot of these have missed. But Train Dreams, No Other Choice, Frankenstein, Bugonia all got in a Critics' Choice. But again, we don't have Writers Guild. And Writers Guild also statistically has a lot of these like ineligibilities and stuff like that. And then the BAFTA long list. No Other Choice didn't even make the BAFTA long list. And BAFTA liked Decision to Leave more than the Oscars did, Park Chan-wook's last film. And so I think those other 5 on there, I think that's your 5. And that's what you got to live with. Now we venture into below the line categories. Let's start out with casting. It's the new category this year. We've never seen casting at the Oscars before. With these shortlisted categories, I added all of them in Award Expert just so I can see all of my options. So, casting, a very fun one. People thought it was going to be one battle. Sinners has proven to be the favorite in this. So, Sinners, I think is your winner. We can save the winner talk for later. So Sinners, one battle. Marty Supreme, I think they're gonna have no problem with that. What we've kind of been seeing is they kind of value finding new talent, like discovering new talent. And so you have Miles Caton in Sinners. You have Chase Infinity in One Battle After Another. You have Odessa Zion and Marty Supreme. You have Jacoby Jupe and Hamnet, and then you have The Secret Agent, which has this great casting pick of Wagner Moura. You have all the supporting cast that is great in that film. Weapons is an interesting pick here. I mean, you have a great cast with like Julia Garner, Alden Ehrenreich, Josh Brolin, Benedict Wong, Amy Madigan, of course. And then you have like a couple of those kid actors in there that are really, really great. So, I mean, that could be a really interesting casting pick. That'd honestly be awesome to see. And you know what? I might just do that. Why not? Let's put weapons in there. I'll take a look at the spreadsheet in a second. I think these are the rest of the films on the short list. Sentimental Value, which I think is great, but I don't think it has that like discovering young talent kind of angle that the Oscars I think are really going to go for when celebrating casting directors. Frankenstein, I mean, you could go with the casting of Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, and he won the Critics' Choice pretty shockingly as well, but I just don't think it's strong enough. Wicked, I mean, just the casting of Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, and then Surratt, which is great. I love that it's on here, casting these like real life ravers in those supporting roles, but I don't think that movie is strong enough to get in the Oscars. If we take a look at the spreadsheet, I am going to have to scroll a bit to find it. It's a bit out of order from Award Expert, but here we go. Critics' Choice, Sinners won, and then we had Hamnet, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, Wicked, and One Battle. Jay Kelly did not make the short list or the BAFTA long list, so we can basically ignore that. Marty Supreme, I think, is a great option. Yeah. Frankenstein, One Battle After Another. I mean, the way the RDOs do their nominations, they do comedy and drama, and so that's why you have things like The Naked Gun, The Phoenician Scheme, Wake Up Dead Man, and like F1 in here. Like movies that are not going to happen did not make the long list, but just they exist. There's just a lot of nominations there. So, anyways, I think Sinners, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle. And then again, this is where you're gonna find a bit of discrepancy with like the precursors, and because it's a new category, we truly don't know how the Oscars approach this category as compared to Critics' Choice, which is ensemble and casting. So you have to factor that in. You have SAG Ensemble, obviously. You have all of these different awards do something a little different. And so it'll be interesting to see what the Oscars do. I mean, again, it's their first year doing the casting category. And man, the thought of Sinners being the first casting winner makes me so excited. So anyways, those are the casting awards, my nomination predictions, and we'll see what happens. I'm really excited for this category. International feature, we won't spend too much time. There's not much to talk about. Secret Agent, it was just an accident. Sentimental Value, like Best Picture contenders, those are getting in. Surratt had a great day on the Oscar shortlist, and so I think that's going to show up here. And then No Other Choice, the only reason why I'm like hesitant with this one is because the Oscars snubbed Park Chan-wook's last film decision to leave a few years ago, very shockingly as well. And so It's possible they could do it again. I really hope they don't because No Other Choice is so good. I think Your Alt is the voice of Henry Job. That one's been making its rounds. It's um, very, very emotional and just been making its rounds. Left-Handed Girl, possibly. I mean, it's Netflix behind that film. Sean Baker is a writer, and he just won 4 Oscars last year. But I think the Neon Five is tough to beat, and I can't predict anything else. So that's what I'm going with. I am going to skip documentary feature because truthfully, I don't know enough about the documentaries to give adequate advice for predictions. I'll do my research and then I'll just make my predictions. I encourage you to do the same. We'll talk about animated feature though. K-pop Demon Hunters is winning. Arco, Zootopia 2, Little Amelie, and Elio. That's what I've got. In Your Dreams has missed some key nominations. Scarlet is just kind of around. If we take a look at the spreadsheet, I'll have to find this one. Where are you? There you are. I mean, Arco was nominated just in the independent film category, so that one's a little different. But like those five, look at that, man, everywhere. Critics' Choice, Golden Globe, the ones that are consistent. And then you have like Bad Guys 2 at Annie's. Critics' Choice had In Your Dreams. Demon Slayer was at Golden Globe. Now, K-pop was not eligible at BAFTA, so we can kind of ignore that. In Your Dreams didn't make the BAFTA long list, and there you go. So I just think this five right here is kind of impossible to beat, and that's what I got. All right, let's talk cinematography. Sinners, One Battle. I think these are locks. Train Dreams, I think, is also a lock. That film won the Critics' Choice pretty shockingly as well. So I got no problem predicting those. Marty Supreme, a bit of a late bloomer with showing up places, but I mean, take a look here. It got both American Society of Cinematographers and British Society of Cinematographers. And Darius Khondji is a big industry name. He just got in a couple years ago for Bardo. Very shockingly, didn't get any other precursors. So I think if he can get in for a film like Bardo, he can certainly get in for Marty Supreme, which is a much bigger Oscar player. Take a look back here at the predictions. So I think Marty Supreme is going to get in, and then the other one I have getting in is Frankenstein. I know Hamnet is like kind of a big snub, but Hamnet has missed ASC and BSC, which is tough. It's really tough. And so solely because of that, and because Frankenstein has gotten in everywhere, I can't predict it. I'm so sorry because Hamnet's a gorgeous looking movie, but and maybe they do nominate Lucas All. That'd be great, but you know, it is what it is. I think your alts are F1 and Bugonia, but I don't think it's gonna stretch outside this 6. I think those are your options. And because Hamnet missed the guilds, I'm gonna go with Frankenstein in that 5 slot. Editing. This is a bit of a tricky one. I think One Battle and F1 are going to have no problem getting in. Marty Supreme, of course, don't think it's going to have a problem. Sinners, I think that'll be fine. It's this 5 slot that I'm kind of playing with 3 different options. I'm playing with Hamnet, The Sentiment of Value, and Frankenstein. So let's go ahead and take a look at the spreadsheet. Take a look at editing. Let me pull it up on my side. We don't have a ton of nominations. The Eddie Awards have not happened yet. BAFTA just has a long list where, like, The Perfect Neighbor was like a very weird, like, Critics' Choice, or it was a very weird Critics' Choice pick, and I don't think it's going to get in. Outside of that, I also don't think that A House of Dynamite is going to really do anything. And so, I mean, you have your top 4, F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle, and Sinners, and you're kind of left to just figure it out for yourself in that 5 slot. And so, my thinking is Hamnet is closer to Best Picture, closer to winning Best Picture than the others. So Hamnet, you know, possibly. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm going to go with Sentimental Value. Sentimental Value, like, kind of thrives off of its presentation. And, you know, that presentation and the way it's edited, the way the story is told to the audience, it very much thrives off that. And if you take that away, you take a key factor out of that movie. So I think that's what I'm actually going to do. I think I'm going to keep in sentimental value. I think that'd be great. But you know, it is what it is. I could see Hamnet or Frankenstein getting in, or heck, No Other Choice would be sick as well. That'd be awesome. But don't think No Other Choice is gonna happen. Again, I think it's you got to pick one of these three, and you got to hope for your best. You got to hope for the best.
Hi, friends. I need to make a change. I have to do Hamnet in that 5 slot. I was looking at nominations and predictions and all that again, and was reminded that Sentimental Value missed the BAFTA long list. That is very tough. So I'm gonna go Hamnet. Hamnet's just like top 3 for Best Picture, and I think it's just what I gotta do. So changing out Hamnet for Sentimental Value, which sucks because Sentimental Value's editing is so good, but whatever. That's what I'm doing.
All right, let's talk production design. I think you got Frankenstein, Sinners, Hamnet, no problem. Those are going to get in. Marty Supreme doing really well. Jack Fisk and Adam Willis, big names in the industry. Then I think you're going to go for Wicked, these big fantastical sets. They're different from the first one. They use some of the ones from the first one as well, which obviously that first Wicked film did win the Oscar last year. And I think your All Is One Battle. I mean, One Battle creates this really interesting streetscape. In a couple of different places, you have the design of like the desert meetup spot, then like the Christmas adventurers and all that jazz. So you've got some cool stuff on the production design side of things. If we take a look at the spreadsheet, obviously the guilds have a lot of different categories, so I kind of have to include all of them. So there's a lot of these that you can't ignore. But when we look at like what the Critics' Choice did, Frankenstein won. Fantastic Four is an interesting pick, but I just don't think that movie is gonna really do anything. Then you have Hamnet, Marty Supreme, Sinners, and Wicked, which that is what makes me think Wicked is probably your best bet. I mean, One Battle did get in at the Art Directors Guild, and it is on the BAFTA long list, so it's possible, but I just don't see it beating Wicked, honestly. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think this is your 5. You can do One Battle if you want to. Honestly, I could just take those 2 out because I think it's going to be this. And it's easy as that. Costumes looks really similar. Frankenstein, Sinners, Hamnet, and Wicked all getting in for pretty obvious reasons, I think. Again, it's just this 5th slot, and I think that 5th slot is going to go to Hedda. Hedda has these very extravagant costumes, and I think it's got a shot. I think you could do One Battle. Like, it could just be like a simple like ballot check nomination for that movie. Maybe Marty Supreme, just on account of Marty Supreme being a period piece. If we take a look at the spreadsheet, let me move it down a little bit. Not that far. There we go. We look at the Critics' Choice. They did Frankenstein, Hamnet, Hedda, Sinners, Wicked, and then Kiss of the Spider Woman. But I think Kiss of the Spider Woman is kind of out of the picture. And so, like, this is the 5 that I'm kind of leaning on right now. Marty Supreme didn't even make Costume Designers Guild, didn't make Critics' Choice, so it's not even like on this list anywhere. And so I think these top 5 are your options. I mean, Hedda didn't make the BAFTA long list, but I don't think if you're looking at that 5th slot at the Oscars, that's not like the most important thing. You can have films get in that miss those kind of here and there nominations every now and then. So I think this is your 5 right here. Maybe One Battle, but I think Hedda is just a stronger like costume piece. You know what I mean? Makeup and hairstyling is another one that I think is fairly simple just because we're playing that game again of what else would I put in? You know what I mean? So you have Frankenstein, Wicked, Sinners, One Battle, and The Smashing Machine. I think that's what you gotta go with. I think it's what you gotta go with. They love their prosthetics, so obviously Frankenstein Wicked has some crazy makeup stuff with like the Scarecrow and the Tin Man. Sinners, you have all of the vampire stuff. One Battle, you have Sean Penn's face at the end. And the Smashing Machine, you got what's going on at the Rock. And so I think that's it. I think that's what you got to go with. I mean, we can look at the spreadsheet if you want to. The makeup and hair guild has a lot of categories as well. If we look at Critics' Choice, Frankenstein, Sinners, Smashing Machine, Weapons didn't even make the shortlist, which sucks, but whatever. And then Wicked, and then 28 Years Later, which didn't even get it on there. So, Frankenstein, Sinners, Smashing Machine, Wicked, yeah. And then One Battle, just because Sean Penn's face and that movie's so close to Best Picture, and that makeup job at the end of the movie really does add something to the end of that movie. So, I think this is your 5. I mean, you can take a look at these alts. It's just, I don't know what else it would be. The Ugly Stepsister, Nuremberg, Kokuko, Marty Supreme. I don't see any of those happening. I don't. Visual effects is a little bit more interesting than I might have thought about a week ago, but let's take a look. So we got Avatar, we got F1. I think those are obvious locks. Superman doing well. I think that's going to get in. And then you get down to these last two. And that's where you get a little interesting. So this is where we're going to go to the spreadsheet now. I got to move it down. Visual effects. Here we are. So let's look. Critics' Choice did Avatar, F1, Sinners, Frankenstein, Mission Impossible, Superman. Mission Impossible not on the Oscar shortlist. So we can ignore that. Sinners not on the BAFTA long list. But Sinners is like number 2 for Best Picture. And Sinners has this like very groundbreaking clone face replication technology that it's doing. And so a lot of the times at the Oscars, if you have a movie that's like in the Best Picture conversation, like take Poor Things a couple of years ago, the branch usually doesn't go with those movies just because they're in Best Picture. They usually have some sort of actual merit that those movies are going to get into the conversation with. And I think Sinners has that on account, not even factoring in that movie is like in for Best Picture and is in like number 2 for the win, but it's got this interesting technology. However, what's interesting is that Sinners got nominated at the Visual Effects Society in the supporting category, which I don't really show that on here. There's not a real succinct way to do that. But it got in at the supporting effects nomination at the Visual Effects Society. And The Lost Bus got in like the main visual effects category, like their top prize, which is fascinating because that movie has like kind of been flying under the radar. But with that movie getting on the BAFTA long list and the Oscar short list, and getting in VES, their main prize nominations, I think you might have to go for it. And like, Frankenstein missing out at the VES is a big one. Made it really easy for me to get that movie out of there. I mean, Superman missed VES, but there's some good visual effects in there that I think they'll just nominate it. You usually have a superhero movie in there somewhere. And so if we take a look back here, I could see any one of these 3 bottom movies missing out at the Oscars. And I didn't even mention Wicked didn't get in at Critics' Choice, didn't get in at VES, but it's possible that gets in at Oscar. But that's why I have it lower here. And so I think Frankenstein could take any one of these spots. I could see Sinners missing. I could see Superman missing, possibly. I could see The Lost Bus maybe missing. So, I don't know. It's a really interesting category. It's a lot more interesting than it has been in years past. I'm excited to see what the Oscars do with it. All right, home stretch, people. Let's do it. Let's talk about sound. We've got Sinners, F1, One Battle, Frankenstein, and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Those are my 5. The Cinema Audio Society nominations came out this morning, where Mission Impossible actually made it in. The last Mission Impossible made it in for sound here at the Oscars. Let's take a look. at the spreadsheet. I'm gonna have to find where it is. I think it's down there. It is. So we have motion pictures sound editors, which is sound editing. Cinema Audio Society, which is sound mixing. Obviously, those used to be their separate Oscar categories, but now it's just one sound category. So I've included them both here just so we can see. And we have 4 films that overlap: F1, Frankenstein, One Battle, and Sinners, which I think is happening. And then it's that last slot where I think Mission Impossible is going to get in. The last one made it in at the Oscar. Getting in at the Cinema Audio Society is really good. I'd love to see a Seurat nomination. Man, that movie would be great in there. But I just don't think it's strong enough. Anemone, it's not getting in. I don't even know. I think it missed this shortlist. I need to do that. So it's another one of those games of just like, what else do I put in? Like, we put in Avatar, maybe. There's a lot of explosions and fighting and stuff like that. Do I put in Wicked just because it's a musical? Like Seurat? You know what? Dadgummit, let's just do this. 'Cause why not? 'Cause I'm feeling it. So, anyways, Mission Impossible just has those 2 elements. The last one got in, and it just got in at Cinema Audio Society. That is enough to warrant me putting this in my Oscar predictions. So, there you go. Alrighty, for original score, we have our handful of locks: Sinners, One Battle, Hamnet, Frankenstein, which I think is pretty dead set in there. And then your last pick, Marty Supreme. I'll go ahead and go to the spreadsheet now, just so we can take a look-sees here. Up here, we have Sinners, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle getting in everywhere so far. And then F1, a surprise getting in at Critics' Choice and Golden Globe, but missing the BAFTA long list. And then you have Begonia, which only got in at the Society of Composers and Lyricists. You have Marty Supreme only getting it at Critics' Choice, Seurat only getting it at Golden Globe, Wicked also only getting in at CSL. The last Wicked movie got in the Oscar as well, but I don't think it's gonna get in again. So it's really a game of which one of these kind of 1 nomination movies do you want to go with, or do you want to go with something like F1, which is kind of not a score player in a way, even though it is Hans Zimmer. So, we could take a look here. I have Marty Supreme. I've heard a lot of chatter about Daniel Lopatin's score in talks about the awards and getting him nominated and stuff like that. Begonia, Jerskin Fendrix did make it in for Poor Things a few years ago. Again, F1, it's Hans Zimmer. He's always a possibility. Seurat would be a super dope pick, but I'm going to go with Marty Supreme. I wouldn't be shocked if there was some sort of surprise here. Maybe F1 does sneak in, or maybe Begonia sneaks in, which both of those, it'd be fine with me. But, just an interesting little category, but I think those top 4, those aren't going to move. It's just this 5th slot that you got to look out for. And I'm going to go with Marty Supreme as my prediction. And then final category, let's talk about song. I'm not going to talk about the short film categories because I have no idea what I'm doing with those. For original song, I think you got an easy 5 here. I think it's Golden, I Lied to You, Dear Me, Train Dreams, Girl in the Bubble. I think that's it. Last time I Seen the Sun from Sinners could sneak in somewhere if they really just don't like Wicked, but that song hasn't missed anywhere. Salt and Sour and Sweet has made some appearances and some nominations. Dream is one. From Avatar has made some appearances. No Place Like Home, I think that's gone. If we take a look at the spreadsheet, you have Golden, I Lied to You, Girl in the Bubble, and Drive from F1 is kind of your top contenders. You've got those top 3, Golden, I Lied to You, The Girl in the Bubble. Your top 3 have gotten in everywhere. You have Dear Me, which is Diane Warren, and you need to predict her. You need to put that song into your predictions if you haven't, because she's going to get in. So that's 4 nominations. And then for that 5th one, I got to go with Train Dreams. Even though it missed the SEL, it missed the Guild, it still got in at Critics' Choice and Golden Globe. SEL, I'm still trying to figure out as a precursor, because it's the Guild for the musicians, it's for score and for song, but it's not super influential when it comes to the actual nominations or awards or anything like that. And so I'm still trying to figure out what their deal is, or if they're ever going to be like super influential with their picks. It's kind of hard to tell. But anyways, that's a separate discussion. I think these five are the pretty obvious ones. I mean, we can take a look at some of those other ones. Last time I seen the Sun got an SCL, obviously being Sinners. Salt Than Sour Than Sweet also at SCL. I mean, you have Dream Is One got in at Golden Globe, but it's whatever. It's again, I don't think it's stronger than either of those are stronger than Train Dreams or The Girl in the Bubble or even Drive from F1, but anyways. Yeah, so those are my predictions for song. I think that's an easy 5 that you can't really go wrong with. And those are my predictions for the 2026 Oscar nominations. Nominations are Thursday morning, so be expecting a reaction video coming at some point on Thursday. It's the most chaotic morning of the year, and we're only a couple of days away. I'm excited. So subscribe so you don't miss when I drop my reaction video. It's one of my favorite videos to make every year, so be on the lookout for it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see y'all in the next one.